For a moment, Mika stood silent, leaning back in her chair as she thought things over, closing her eyes for a moment to concentrate. "Well," Captain Shima replied, seeming to grow impatient, even with just the few moments of Mika thinking things over. "I told you patience is not my strong suit. Answer." "Okay," Mika replied, finally opening her eyes. "Captain Shima, was it? I, Captain Mika, of the exovol, will hereby give you my official response." "Obadal," she said, looking across the bridge to the security station. "Fire at will," Mika said abruptly as she shut off the communications. "Vermi, evasive actions," she shouted as the ring of the weaponry on board exovol began to fire off. The assortment of plasma cannons, sending small shock waves through the body of the ship. Blue streaks of light as the missiles released, streaking out towards the enemy vessel. It was an abundant array of colors as all of the weapons unleashed, simultaneously, everything firing at once, as both ships began to move, and in no time at all, counterattacks began to rain down, as impacts from enemy weapons began to strike the exovol, the ship shaking and shuddering one direction then the next, as the two ships began to somewhat perform the dance of death that is common in space-bound combat, flying around each other in all directions, spinning and whirling, explosions and streaks of light, as all manner of weaponry fired back and forth between the two. Explosions bouncing off of the surface of each ship. "Captain, I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news," one of the crewmates on board the bridge shouted, "but we're taking heavy damage." "Yes, I get that," Mika shouted back, as another massive impact shook the ship, sparks flying as another shot hit, overloading one of the panels on board the bridge. "Condition," Mika shouted. "Shields are holding at about 80%. All weaponry still active." "Vermi, how are we doing in terms of evasion? If we could be dodging more of these shots, I'm gonna kick your ass," Mika shouted. "Hey, I am doing the best I can. They have a lot, and I do mean a lot of weaponry. Luckily for us, we're faster than they are, more maneuverable, so we're taking less hits than them." "Captain," Dola said as he frantically typed away on one of the data screens, "I regret to inform you that your course of action is not yielding positive results. I'm calculating the numbers now, but by the looks of it, this conflict will not end in our favor. We are dodging more shots than they are, but the strength of their vessel is too high. If things continue in this manner, we will reach critical systems damage in 3 minutes, at which point our shields will fail, and this conflict will end, even laying in the maximum amount of damage we possibly can. I estimate their shield level will still remain above 40% by the time that the conflict comes to its end. The overall strength of our vessels is simply too different. They're stronger than us." "Well, I am open to suggestions," Mika replied. "But we will not be handing 3 innocent people over to them. We were hired to perform a job, and we're going to do it. We knew this mission was dangerous when we took it," Mika said, as another hit impacted exovol, shockwaves running through the ship as it jolted. "Heavy impact from their main cannons. Shields down to 59%. "Damn it," Mika shouted, as she stared out of the view screen into space, seeing the streaks of light passing by as the ship whirled between them as fast as it could, launching its own counterattacks that radiated off the surface of the enemy ship. "Damn it, this is not going well," Mika said, reaching out and touching the control panel. "Captain to engineering, come in." "This is Maya in engineering. We're getting hammered down here. What's going on?" "Never mind it, Mia. How's the quantum drive? Can we still go light travel? We need light speed," Mika shouted. "Well, yes, Captain. We can still hit light speed. However, we've taken some heavy damage down here. I don't know how long we can hold it." "Okay, exovol," Mika shouted, pressing the button to communicate directly to exovol. "I need you to use your nanites. Do what you can to reinforce the quantum drive. All hands prepare for jump." Captain, I hate to be the bearer of bad news again, but going to light speed won't work. They'll just come after us." "Yes, of course they will," Mia replied. "Hey, stop the naysaying," Mika said. "Yes, they're going to come after us, but it'll at least buy us some time. Vermi, take us to light speed. We either get blown to hell 3 minutes from now, or go to light speed, buy ourselves some time, and maybe find a way out of this situation." "Aye, aye, Captain," Vermi replied as he clicked in the buttons and initiated the quantum drive. Releasing a massive burst of blue light, the exovol rushed out into space, away from the area of the initial conflict. "Now at light speed. Vermi, push it all the way, everything we can." "Yes, Captain," Vermi said, clicking through the buttons. "Now at light speed 17, 18, 19. Reaching maximum limitations," he said, as they started to feel shaking within the ship. "What is that, Vermi?" "We're reaching the speed limitations for the ship. Sustaining speeds this high isn't something that we're meant for. The damage to the ship is actually making it more difficult. We've reached maximum speed, light speed 22, and holding," Vermi shouted. "Captain, the enemy vessel is matching speed. They're coming after us." "No, just a second. They're only going light speed 20. We're the faster," one of the crew members shouted out. "Yeah, but not for long," Vermi replied. "According to the readings, the engines are gonna give out, and our stasis field is weakening. I don't mean to be a bother, but we really need that." "What happens if the stasis field goes down?" Mika shouted. "Okay, let's try to simplify it. The stasis field basically keeps everything on the interior of the ship in a state of stasis in comparison to the motion of the outside of the ship, so that we're not affected by the inertia of traveling faster than the speed of light. You know, stuff like that. If the stasis field goes down, suddenly all of those forces impact us. Trust me, you do not want to see that. It would be very, very bad. And the stasis field is dropping. We're already down to 40%. At this rate, I can't tell which is going to fail first, the stasis field or the engines. Any ideas, Captain?" Vermi said, looking over his shoulder for a moment, looking very concerned, as Mika clicked a few buttons, calling out a holographic display, a star chart with their location on it, beginning to sift through, before something caught her eye. "Yeah, that should work. In fact, it's kind of perfect. Vermi, I'm uploading a new destination. Adjust course." Mika said as she clicked a few buttons, sending the information through. Captain, how is that supposed to help? It's just a celestial dwarf. It's not even big enough to be called a planet. It doesn't have to be, Vermi, Mika shouted. This specific celestial dwarf is made of amorite. Nearly 60%. Amorite generates its own magnetic field, much stronger than almost any other substance. It may be tiny, but that little world has an immense gravitational field. Yes, Captain, but how does that help? Just trust me, Vermi. Set course. This crazy bitch wants to pick a fight? Well, she's got one. And it's not one I intend on losing, Mika said, a smile starting to emerge on her face.